So this presentation is being recorded and will be made available to the rest of our community moving forward. So this is being made possible by a grant made to NDC by the USDA Rural Development Community Facilities Technical Assistance and Training Program that with the University of Arizona and AATech Applied Technology were able to assist both NDC in imagining and developing their Naudi Life Center, and also in assisting other community facilities in the San Carlos area and across rural areas in Arizona. We're also really pleased to be joined today by Local First Arizona and to learn more about their commercial kitchen and the kind of community space that they've created there. So just wanted to present the agenda for today and kind of what we'll be doing. So first, I'm going to be giving a brief presentation on the needs assessment that NDC has distributed to the San Carlos community over the past year, first year of that assessment. And then we will have Eric Shin from NDC presenting on the one-year development plan for the Naudi Life Center. We also have Carrie Sage Curley joining us, who will be able to answer questions as well. Following that, we'll have Gabe Gardner from Local First Arizona presenting on their community accessible commercial kitchen. And we'll have a really beautiful video tour that's been developed by Linda Baker, who also works with NDC of that space. And we're looking forward to that. Following all of that, we have some space at the end for questions, discussion, closing remarks, whatever we feel, whatever comes up throughout the meeting. And then we'll close out for today. Yeah, thanks so much everybody for being here, and let's get started. Ooh, I know that animations. Okay, so first I'm going to be giving a short presentation on the Community Facility Needs Assessment Survey that was presented to the San Carlos Apache tribe in the San Carlos area. In the first year, again, this was sponsored by the USDA's Rural Development Program and distributed by NDC with our help at AATech Applied Technology. So for those of you who don't know anything about us or who we are, AATech Applied Technology is a professional consulting firm that's really dedicated to improving the quality of life for rural Arizonans. So we specialize in grant writing, technical assistance, and business assistance to nonprofits and socially disadvantaged groups, which is a federally defined term that we work with. And we work with exclusively socially disadvantaged groups in Arizona and focus on rural areas, and especially supporting the 22 federally recognized tribes in Arizona. And so my name is Allegra Mount, and I'm a grant writer with AATech Applied Technology. We're really lucky to have had NDC be our partner for the past couple of years and been able to help them develop some really great programs. And we're all about supporting our partner organizations and helping them grow in the ways that they want to. And I feel very fortunate to be in the role that I am. So I wanted to make it known to the rest of the community that we have joining us today that through this grant that we have with NDC, and then also through other grants that we have with other partner organizations, we have various kinds of assistance available that we can provide to businesses, farmers, ranchers. If you are interested in opening a business, if you are a community facility such as a healthcare center or a food pantry, if you're interested in any sort of growth or expansion, we want to help you make it happen. So we can do things like help you prepare business plans, evaluate the feasibility of an idea or a project that you'd like to move into. And we can also help with more technical things with our Vice President Jing Liu, who is a professional engineer. We can help you evaluate water and wastewater engineering systems and issues, as well as help connect you with really great extension agents and partners that we have, like Arias, who I see is on the call with us today, about doing community outreach and addressing agricultural needs that you might have. a lot that we can do, and I just wanted to make that known. My email address is at the bottom there. That will also be available at the end of the presentation. Okay, I'll try to move forward. Okay, so the goal for the community needs assessment that we have been working on with NDC is really to determine the community priorities for facilities in different community areas serving the San Carlos Apache tribe, and then to utilize this information to identify gaps and needs for facilities and inform future programming, partnership, and technical assistance efforts at NDC's facilities. So the survey was sent out through NDC's networks and then also made available through some of our email lists. We got 42 total responses, and 66% of those responses identified as tribal members. The most common household makeup that we saw was 3 adults and 2 children, and 71% of the respondents identified as female. The chart on the right also shows you kind of the age group that we captured. So almost half of our respondents were aged 35 to 54. And then the other 2 large age groups that participated were under 18 and 26 to 34. So we really captured, for the most part, the needs and desires of the population from 0 or whatever, as soon as you can fill out a survey, to age 54. One of the next questions we asked was, what community facility is the most important to have in a community? And they were asked to rank them, 1 being least important, 5 being the most important. And so there were most of the facility options that we presented were ranked as being very important over 4, so there's definitely a lot of value of community facilities in this area. And we'll kind of compare this data to what we see in the later questions, but healthcare centers and fire/police stations and school facilities were the 3 that were consistently listed as the most important. This is an average that we're presenting here. But the other facilities that we asked about were food banks, colleges, youth facilities, health and fitness centers, libraries, community centers, and cultural centers and museums. So cultural centers and museums and art galleries were the kind of lowest on the list, and that is consistent with what we see in the later questions. But healthcare centers way up at the top there for the San Carlos community. Next question was, list the top 3 community facilities you regularly visit. And we had people choose their first 3, allowed them to choose 3 choices. And so what you can see there in blue is what people selected as their number 1. So overall, between all 3 choices, healthcare centers and health and fitness centers were kind of total across 3 choices seen as being very important. We also had school facilities were more than a third of the respondents indicated that those were very important, and community centers in this one kind of jumped up in importance, and we had more than a third, almost a half of the respondents indicating that community centers were some of the most used community facilities. And then next question asked, what facilities are most needed in your community? So really more directly asking this question. And then, so once again, we had healthcare centers and fire police stations, which we saw in our first question is what facilities are most important. So you can interpret need in different ways. This might not necessarily mean that these facilities don't exist already. It might indicate that these people recognize again or are again communicating that these are the most important centers, community facilities to have in a community. Then once again, we had a lot of focus on community centers and then also on school facilities up at the top, with a large number of respondents indicating that those two facilities were needed in their community. We also allowed some space for people to provide some commentary on if there was not we didn't have listed kind of the other community facilities that they thought they needed. They could provide us some information here. And so we had churches, early education centers, 5 environmental programs that deal with natural resources, higher education offices, Peridot, siding recycling, tribal administration, churches. A couple times churches have come up. Homeless shelters, and again, homeless shelters have come up. Homes for domestic violence victims, rehab and group homes. A good substance abuse rehab recovery facility for both youth and adults. Splash pads or water parks. Trash, sanitation centers, water and sewer, and adult education. So all of this is really useful information for us to take forward as we design future surveys to kind of dive deeper into what the community desires are. And it's always interesting and useful to provide space for people to just write in whatever they want to provide. Toward the end of the survey, we asked people to identify the challenges that they experienced in the community. And alcoholism and drug abuse was listed as, with almost all the participants, as the primary challenge. We also saw as choice 1 access to healthy foods, cultural traditional education, and unemployment as being very important. And I think that we also saw unemployment indicated and education indicated as important to the community in terms of the challenges that they face. And I think this really speaks to, and in the last slide where we saw the kind of the write-in community, what community facilities are needed, speaks to already a lot of the work that NDC does in the community. So if nothing else, this is confirmation, I think, that NDC really is responding and paying attention to / working directly with the community and the needs that it has. So the next steps are to adjust and redistribute the survey for its second year. And really in this second year, we're going to kind of expand that list of facilities that we presented as options for people to rank and indicate the importance of, and also doing things like separating some of the facilities that were lumped together, like fire, police stations, make those 2 separate options to choose. And we're also going to look at how did COVID-19 affect the use of community facilities, because, for the large part, what we've seen across the country is a dramatic decrease in the direct use of community facilities, like people maybe not be going into community facilities as much outside of perhaps the healthcare sector, but there still are a lot of services that those community facilities provide during a natural disaster like the COVID-19 pandemic. So we're interested in gathering some information on that to help us in work and move forward. And then we also are going to use this information to target and direct our technical assistance that we provide in San Carlos and other communities. One other thing that we're going to do in the survey moving forward is provide space for the individual to identify if they belong to other tribal communities outside of San Carlos Apache tribe, to make it a little more, to give us a little more information and a little more inclusive. We do have a version of this survey currently live, and if you are a resident of the San Carlos area, would appreciate your participation. NDC has already started distributing this, and we have some responses coming in, so thank you guys for that. And yeah, we're looking forward to continuing to refine this over future years. We already have support for, we're in our second year of support for this program from the USDA, and we're hoping to secure and have applied for additional future years so that we can continue to develop a program of community facility technical assistance in the San Carlos Apache area. So that's all that I've got for us today. Again, my name is Allegra. I'm the grant writer and coordinator for AATech Applied Technology, and my information is there. I also forgot to put our web address there, but it is the latter half of my email address. aatechsolar.com is our website that you can find out more about the programs that we run with our many nonprofit and agricultural partners, including NDC. And I am happy to take any questions that you guys have. Otherwise, I am set. So do we have any questions from the group? And then Dennis, are you raising your hand?
Yes, I was. I actually go by Bill, but somehow Zoom has me down as a Dennis. So,
well, hi, Bill.
One of the things I wanted to ask you, there seemed to be on the survey a tremendous need for and interest in various health services, mm-hmm. and alcohol abuse services and this sort of thing. Has the San Carlos tribe interacted with Native Health in Phoenix at all? And if you haven't, I can give you some connections there that might be quite helpful. Native Health is currently servicing 32,000 Native Americans living in the Phoenix metro area. And they have two facilities, one in Phoenix and one in Mesa. And they have a number of, they are representing actually 225 different tribes, or serving 200. So they're coming not only from the Arizona tribal communities, but from all over the country. And they've settled in the Phoenix area for one reason or another. But if you would like, I can send you an email, Allegra, that would give you some contact information for Native Health.
Yeah, well, I think that would be, I'd be very interested in that for some other programs that we're actually trying to develop with helping some remote communities access healthcare. So I'd be very interested in that. And then I would love to hear from some folks who are more involved with the tribe, or Eric or Carrie, about what the healthcare facilities and availability like that is on the reservation.
I can speak to that a little bit. I worked at the San Carlos Apache Healthcare Corporation for 4 years. They created a new building. It's very beautiful, and they've started a lot of services there, new services that weren't provided in the past. And I know they work closely with IHS, that's Indian Health Services, and that's run by the federal government. So they do have connections with the area office and a lot of other resources through the government for any assistance that they need. Yeah, I think they do a really great job. The tribe and the healthcare corporation work very closely together. So it's good to see new services that to be provided here. And I believe they just opened a like a surgery center, like doing minor surgical procedures. So that's really great to be able to have that on the reservation instead of having to fly people out or transport them to Phoenix or other places. So, but yeah, thank you, Bill, for your feedback and your recommendations, and we'd love to look at the resources that you provide.
Awesome. Okay, so it looks like we're perfectly on time. Look at that, just about ready for Eric to make his presentation about the 1-year development plan for the Life Center. And I'll hand it
Just
over
take
to
a
you,
drink
Eric.
of water real quick.
Sure. Yeah, so, and Eric is the your title is project coordinator?
Project manager and the operations manager.
Yeah, so Eric seems to do a lot of really great work for NDC, and like he said, he's moved over from the working for multiple other great projects in the San Carlos and Globe area. So we're looking forward to hearing from him today.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you everyone for being here. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. Thank you for the board members from NDC that are here today. I believe Jessica and Anita are on. Also Carrie, our vice president, and Carrie will help me with this presentation. You know, where you see, you can add a few things, Carrie, feel free to chime in or I'll just ask you. Lyndon, who's our marketing specialist, Vista, he's been a huge help. He created an amazing video that we're going to present today about our visit to Local First. And of course, Juan Arias, who was mentioned earlier, he's a huge help in our garden. He's with the U of A Extension program. And so thank you everyone for being here, and let's get started. All right, can everyone see my screen all right? Okay. In presentation mode. Minimize this a little, okay. So I'm really excited about this presentation. It is mainly going to focus on this past year, 2020, and up to our current date. If you want to hear more about like our story and how we got started, feel free to check us out on our website. That's APACHENDC.org, and it'll share kind of our history, working with the detention center, a little more about our president, Bryce Barnes, who had this vision originally, and how we got up to this point. But this presentation today is mainly going to focus on 2020 and up to today. So first, I want to start with our mission. NDC is a 501c3 nonprofit organization providing revitalization services to the San Carlos Apache children and families through creative and life-transforming projects at the Dripping Springs property, which is an old tree farm on the San Carlos Apache reservation. So you can learn more about that. It was a tree farm in the past, and it was dormant for several years, maybe like 20 years. And you know, in about 2015, NDC started using that site for gardening and other things. And our mission is very broad because we do a lot of different things, as you will see. But I do believe we are really kind of getting focused in certain areas that you'll learn more about. Here are just some statistics of the reservation. There's a lot of challenges and struggles out there. 2/3, 2 out of 3 adults are unemployed on the reservation. At least 4 out of 10 students never finish high school. Roughly half of the tribe is living at the poverty rate. 2 out of 3 bookings are centered around public intoxication and underage consumption in 2012. Gila County has the second highest teen alcohol abuse rate in Arizona, and San Carlos lies, half in Gila County, other half in Graham County, and 38% recidivism rate among youth, meaning that over 1/3 of incarcerated youth become repeat offenders within the same year. So, part of our history, if you go back and you can read through on our website, but it came from the desire to help the youth that are in detention, that really have nothing else to do outside of just outside on the reservation. So they end up back in jail. So it's the question was, what can we do to help? And here is some of our philosophy. Nalwudi Denjoni means strength and beauty in Apache. And we believe there are 4 parts to a person that we are trying to address in a very holistic way. One is the mind, and that would be developing new skills, having a better attitude and outlook on life. Body, which is physical health and well-being and being capable. Soul, we define that as our emotions and our relationships and being responsible for those things. And spirit, which is being deeply connected to God, to the earth, to each other, and having that motivation and inspiration to move forward. And to fulfill our mission, we see 3 main kind of focus areas. One is holistic, kind of like that graph before. It's creating an Apache way of transformation that involves mind, body, soul, and spirit. And that's addressing the whole person, not just one aspect of it. Also rehabilitation, creating a new way of rehabilitation and transition that is full of life, inspiration, and achievement. And lastly, community, creating a self-sustainable means of provision and a reimagined way of living for the San Carlos community. And I really love this picture. This was taken a few weeks ago, maybe a little over a month. This is when Local First came out and organized a volunteer day for us. And, you know, I really love this picture of just diversity, people from all walks of life, you know, children, you know, older, you know, adults, and, you know, really coming together to serve a single purpose. And so creativity and connectedness, what we mean by creativity is just having new ideas and a new way of doing things. How to address the struggles and challenges that, you know, the reservation has, and coming at it from a different angle and thinking outside the box. And connectedness is, how do we work together? How do we, you know, draw on our different skills and talents? You know, from an organization, business perspective, how do we connect with other groups that want to give back? And, you know, from a personal perspective, how do we connect with each other who are very different than us and still find that commonality? So, you know, how do we do that between families and cultures and people, and finding new ways to connect? And this is one of you know, our values here at NDC that we talk about often. First, I'd like to talk about one of our programs that really came up in 2020 because of COVID, and that is food distribution and kind of finding that emergency assistance to the people that need it the most. You can see here, this is from one of our delivery days. You know, Carrie did her, you know, stenciling, and we all took part in it, and it's really made a beautiful, you know, kind of design on our food boxes. And this was a really, really amazing day for us. So how we got started with the COVID relief program was, you know, because of COVID, we wanted to do something. And here you see Bryce Barnes's wife, Tara Barnes. She kind of came up with the idea of, you know, just getting together the food that we can and giving it out to the people that need it. So if you see in the picture in the middle, we started with just a couple shelves of food that's donated, you know, from people, you know, within NDC and friends of ours. If you look at the picture on the right, more food was donated. It just slowly started to grow. And if you see the picture on the left, you know, we had to add shelves and get really organized and Tara created a list of, things that go into every single box. And we really created a wonderful process on how to package, receive, and distribute the boxes. And we really have to thank Tara for that. And from, just an idea, people saw what we were doing and wanted to be a part. And soon we're receiving truckloads of food. From the top right picture, that's one of the food deliveries that we received from the Mormon church. And they gave us a truckload of canned foods. And as you can see, flour, sugar, macaroni, spaghetti. The picture on the top right, that was from, I believe, like grocery stores in Tucson. People weren't really shopping at the time, and all this produce was going bad, and they're just giving it away or throwing it out. So we received, I don't know how much, but as you can see, a lot of produce. And on that day, we got our friends and family and people that wanted to volunteer together. We sorted all the boxes, and the next day we set up booths in San Carlos and just distributed it out. Had trucks or cars drive up, and we handed them out. The bottom right, we have another delivery day, and you see Carrie and workers from Turk. That's the Tribal Emergency Response Committee. We partnered with them very closely, collaborating with them, trying to figure out how to get this food out to the people that need it. And the bottom left picture, that's just one of our trucks. We loaded it up with food boxes. You can see some of the produce from our garden. That's, I think, butternut squash and Apache giant. And then the blue bags are kid educational bags that were created by the Schoolhouse Cooperative. They raised funds and created really, really cool crafts and educational workbooks and toys that we were able to give out to the community. And here we have pictures of, some people receiving the food, and this really came through donations and volunteers and people just wanting to help. So thank you everyone that was a part of it. And as you can see, people were really happy, smiling faces, and they really needed the support, and we were able to get it to them. Before we move on, Carrie, is there anything you wanted to add? I know you were a really big part to the COVID relief program.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, those pictures are great. Going back to flashback, just want to hit on right there on the bottom right corner. You guys can see the kids with the Apache giant, and that's actually in my neighborhood. We always find it very funny how we have these food boxes, but once you open up that ice chest that you guys saw on the previous slide, that the ladies got really excited for the fresh produce. Like you guys saw on that graph that, healthy food is kind of scarce to get out here. So being that our mission, along with many types of food, like how Eric said, working together, many walks of people in the garden, it's literally just like a garden, you have the good and the bad, the weeds and, and all walks of animals. I mean, especially in the middle of a desert, I'm grateful that we are the food hub that we are coming to be today. And like Eric said, just to continue to give to our community and building relationships with these people has been so beautiful to me with my people. We got to a point where we're doing like little gestures with my team. I'm like 1, 2 boxes, size 5, 6, 7, on diapers. So we kind of have a good team, and it's a very small team, but we make a huge impact. And that's just all thanks to you, people who collaborate with us and believe in us to give this food out. Like fresh produce, we were told that you just have to get that out quick. And we already know, working in a garden, once you cut it, from the vine, you just have to eat it quick. So I'm grateful for a team that moves swiftly and fast and smart. And, this work we know that every day it puts a smile on our face just to see the smiles that we give these food boxes to. So just thank you everyone for, who donated to us. Yeah, and Tara for really putting this forward for us as NDC, another mission. Yeah.
Thanks, Carrie. So the next program we want to talk about is our market garden. I really love this quote. I know of no restorative of heart, body, and soul more effective against hopelessness than the restoration of the earth. And I really feel that that quote defines what we're trying to do very well. You know, we do try to grow food and share it with the community, but it's really about restoring the earth and kind of fighting against that hopelessness and bringing people into the work so that they can experience the joy and the process of growing and sharing. And through that, you know, people are changed, heart, body, and soul. So Carrie, I'm gonna run through the slides. Let me know when to, you know, go forward or back, and I'll let you kind of talk through the pictures if that's all right. You're on mute, by the way.
So this was our garden last year. As you guys all see to the picture on the right top, that's all mustard seed that overtook our garden. And I have a close friend, you know, relationship with Jerry, him and his wife and their elders who live here in Chinatown, actually. And that's his own personal tractor that he volunteered his time, him and his wife, to come out. You know, he works full time, but when his days off, he would come and he would say, you know, I don't know if any of you guys know, but Xiaje, he called me Xiaje, which means like my child, you know, my baby, because he's an elder, but you know, he's like, whatever you need, Xiaje, I'll help you. And him and I just tackled this. So it's crazy to look back on pictures like this. He was on with his tractor and I was on with the lawnmower. And just going back to NDC, like Eric was saying, the facility had burned down. And, you know, we started up literally from the ground on up. And I remember just getting that lawnmower was a huge, like, hey, like, so we're so happy just to have that lawnmower. Because before then we just had the old school, you know, where you back and forth. But I was really grateful for that lawnmower, you know, having the right tools make the job a lot quicker and faster. So yeah, this is just you guys could see his very first track in right there when he first went in, and it was a lot. This is a 1 acre plot right here that we have on site that, yeah. And what are we doing right here? We're getting ready to plant. So yeah, that's Jerry right there on his tractor. And there's Juan Arias right there. You go to the next slide. There's Juan right there doing what he's doing, the master gardener. And I've been blessed to be under his wing for 5 years now. It took me 4 years to feel confident to, you know, speak on echoing everything that I learned under him. And still today, I still text him if I have a issue, you know, or a problem. He's my garden guru. But we have Corey right there on the bottom next to that picture. Corey was from Papuan. I believe he was going to school in Oregon. Was that right, Eric? And during the whole COVID relief, he was having issues and his connection with Bryce. And we opened up the doors for him to have him come work and house him for the time being during the whole COVID. And he was such a great worker, hard worker. He was amazed at what we were growing and, you know, building that relationship with him and understanding his culture and our culture.
Oh, I think Carrie might have cut out. So hopefully she can get reconnected. Carrie, you there?
Am I good?
Yeah, you're good now.
Oh, okay. Wonder what happened. Oh, so anyways, I was just saying that.
Oh no.
What classic timing.
I know, right? Okay, so I'll just move forward with this and we'll wait for Carrie to get back on. But yeah, you know, you can see our garden has really flourished last year. A lot of green with the brown everywhere else because we are in the desert. So it is really a beautiful thing to see our garden grow. And on the bottom right, you see Carrie with the Apache giant squash. It's a traditional squash that grows out there. Really been lost over the years. The elders know about it, but it can't be really found anywhere. So we're glad to reintroduce that back into the community. And here we have, we're sharing from our garden. We had a small pumpkin patch. We gave out to some community members. Families would come in and we'd show them around, and they get to take a pumpkin home. And of course, we really embarked on our sales side. So we wanted to work on our sustainability. And we set up a booth out in the downtown area in front of the Boys and Girls Club, sold there, and also had people coming to our site. Things were a little difficult because of COVID, but we tried to follow all the CDC regulations and had people drive up and mask and gloves and, kind of like a drive-through market, which we learned a lot from. And with that garden, we also learned a lot of other things. Here we're seed saving for the first time this past year. So this is seeds from the giant squash. One squash gets pretty big. You kind of see Carrie holding one. You break it open, and maybe like 200-300 seeds are inside. So we washed it, we dried it, and we planted these this year, some of them, and we do plan on sharing that in the future. Hey, Carrie, you good?
I'm good. Sorry, guys.
It's all right. I just started moving on. We're at the
Okay,
composting bit, if you want to talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, Corey. Let's see. We have Corey. Oh, Danny Stevens. She came down from Pennsylvania. She actually will be back again in May to work with us. Our first summer intern, and amazing to work with. Again, just a young mind and her strive to help us with our compost pile. We had started in the past, but again, like you guys saw, that Eric and I and many of us wear many hats that we didn't really have time to really attend that. But she really pushed us to really start a compost pile there. And there's our pile today right there that Juan is actually watering right there. And I'm proud to say it's doing really good. It's smelling great. It's getting the attention that it needs. And again, it doesn't need that much attention, but still you need to turn it and make sure that it's, moist.
And you can tell from the pictures, Juan's in almost everything that we do. So thank you, Juan, for all your help with the U of A Extension Program.
Mhm.
Next, I want to talk about our egg production. And this is something we really took on at the beginning of 2020. We did have other chickens, but we wanted to kind of grow that program. And these are some of the reasons why. We wanted to introduce ourselves as a food producer and, selling service to the community. Before that, we were more known, for our garden and giving out, but we wanted to really be known as that food producer. We also wanted to understand our operations and our business processes a little better because it is a new area for us, selling and understanding that. We wanted to get our practices down and start small. We don't want to have a huge market just yet. So we'll sell a dozen eggs at a time and really understand what that process is. Also, we wanted to really invite youth into the work that we're doing. That's why we built what we call the Chicken Mansion, as you can see in the picture. It's a really nice coop. And, we wanted kids to get in there, be able to walk around, get hands-on, hold the chickens, get in there with rakes and doing chores and really get a good experience. And lastly, it was one of our first big projects together as a team. So, for us internally, it's just team building, learning, working together, having a big kind of project to tackle and accomplishing it and then feeling that sense of achievement. And it was really great for us as a team. And here's some pictures of us constructing it, building it, buying all the wood and putting it together. That was a lot of fun. We have, Carrie wearing another hat, hammer and nails and putting roofing down, and so many volunteers to help with as well. And then of course we had to order chicks and buy chicks. So we got, if you didn't know, you can buy chicks online and have them sent through the mail. So 40 of little chicks came to us, and my daughters are here, kind of taking care of them. I'm sure they would have slept there at night with them too, but it probably wouldn't be the best idea. But they really love the chickens, and then the teenage chickens in the bottom left. And then of course we're eventually able to get to the point where we have children come in, and this is later in 2020, maybe even early 2021, where they come in, help collect the eggs, package it. Carrie and I would help teach on just chickens and eggs, and of course Juan as well. And then on the bottom left corner, that's the San Carlos Cafe. That is the only cafe in town. A lot of people, the businesses, the tribal departments, they order lunch and breakfast from there. So they buy our eggs regularly, 5-6 flats at a time every week. So we're really happy to partner with them and to provide healthy, nutritious eggs to the consumers on San Carlos Apache Reservation. And so I added this slide here because kind of midway or early last year, as we were working and working with other organizations, the word food security was coming up a lot. And that wasn't originally why we got into what we were doing at NDC. We're a group of friends that just wanted to help and do our part in the community. But when I found this and saw this, it really made sense to me, especially with the COVID food box delivery. So we have food insecurity at the top left, and I believe we are on this path to the bottom right where you see actual food security. We've done a lot of the kind of beige and orange color already, and we're growing in that. But really, we are trying to get to that youth education and mentor promoter stage. And I believe, this year and the coming year, we're really going to see large amounts of growth with the collaborations that we've made and, the ideas, the new creative ideas that we have. And we're going to start moving down this path. And, the emergency at the time, we do want to grow and get to that youth education and mentor promoter stage. So these pictures were taken actually this week on Tuesday, I believe. One of our goals for our organization is to put raised bed gardens out into the community. Sorry, some of the pictures are blurry. I believe it was raining that day, so I think my camera was a little dirty. But the top right, you see the family. So this is one of the families we deliver to regularly on our food distribution route. Many times we saw just like a young girl, maybe 12, 13, taking care of her siblings. And so, we really wanted to do something. We built that relationship with them. They got to know us, we got to know them. And, over the months and over the year, we saw that their property is getting more cleaned up and organized, and and that's what we're looking for, people who we feel could really take it the next level. So we took the time and effort to put a garden there, and we planted seeds. You can see on the bottom pictures on Thursday, and really excited to build that relationship and potentially have this family as another hub, kind of extension of NDC. And as we continue to deliver food there, we're going to continue to grow our relationship with them and see where that takes us. Now, I also want to point out here Josiah, who is one of our new employees. He's there on the left picture at the bottom, kind of screwing the plywood into the wall. But something he said to me, after this day was, just like, wow, that felt really good, and that to me is what it's about. It's inviting people into the work and experiencing just that, sharing, giving back, working hard, and how that can change someone's life. And so Josiah is a great part of our team, has helped a lot, and we hope to really grow that relationship with him as well. Here we have our newly built outdoor patio. Really, really excited about this space. We see it as a community space. We want it to look beautiful, a place where the community could come and really feel that life and energy. Where we have an open mic night that's going to be planned in a couple of weeks. I believe the 21st is the new day. I haven't told anyone yet, but I think we need to move it a week back. 21st. But you know, we're going to do open mic nights here, dining events, you know, art classes, you know, pretty much whatever we can think of for the community. We're really excited to be able to create this space and to have it. And you can see from the picture on the bottom right that, you know, that was it was constructed very recently, finished in December. So yeah, and Boykins Construction, they're all Apache construction crew, built that for us, did an amazing job. This here is our food processing room that is also newly built and added on to our old building. So yeah, this is where, you know, we plan to maximize our garden this year, which is like double our production, and we need somewhere to store it. And Carrie mentioned before, like we had to give away the produce quickly. So, you know, on the top right, we have our brand new walk-in fridge that we were able to, you know, raise some funds and have people donated to get that. And now we can store it for a little longer and keep it fresh and be able to give it out when the time's right. And in that picture, you see in the green shirt, that's Gabe. He's from Local First Arizona. He's going to be speaking a little later today about the commercial kitchen that we visited. And this was a volunteer day set up by Local First on our site. And man, that was an amazing, amazing day for us. And we definitely needed the help. As you can see, we can't lift that on our own. Here's our commercial kitchen that was added, I think, early 2020. The plan for that was education, teaching how to cook, you know, trainings. We didn't really get to use it very much because of COVID, just more for like personal stuff and, you know, cleaning eggs and, you know, even storing some of the squash in the fridge that we have. But we do want to grow on that. And we actually were able to use it this past week as well. And Carrie, if you want to talk a little bit about this, this was also an amazing day.
Yeah, that's Twyla Castor, you guys, right there with the apron doing majority of the cooking. She works with the botanist here on the reservation. She's a traditional gatherer, amazing woman. She's our rock star. We always say she's welcome to our garden and cook whatever she can do because she takes it even to a further level of reducing the sugar cane. She's like, oh yeah, I'll bring you guys some candy. She's always doing amazing stuff. So this was a last minute call again with Twyla, but it was the Ikaz, which you guys know is the century plant that there on the bottom right or the bottom left picture right there. The two bowls is what she had made the finished produce with it, but that's how it looks, the raw of it, the stock. And then I didn't get to see her. Again, we were doing the raised bed. Again, we're doing so much, right? Like Eric was saying, but she has them in the fire and she was roasting them. And that's mesquite wood right there. And on top of the bowl right there, you can see the top of it. She just kind of cleans it. So that's what she's demonstrating right there. And that's people along with the Apache language probation who came out. That's Kashina and her husband. Her family came all the way out from White River. So, you know, that's what the NDC is about, is just opening up a space, a safe space, a beautiful space to share cooking, traditional cooking, rather if it's, you know, chefs from all over. That's what that space is held there for. And that's exactly what we want. So we're very happy that Twyla got to break in the kitchen, you know, alongside with me and Eric. You know, we have a team, you get hungry out there. And I always say it's a plus side working on a farm is you can just crack an egg and fry an egg right there on site. But that's what Twyla is doing right there. And the best way I can describe it to all of you right now is it's just like a pineapple, right, Eric? Like, yep. It's sweet, just like a pineapple. So She made acorn, which you guys see right there. It looks a little bit similar to curry. That's the Apache gold for us. That's our gold. Is acorn, and she grinded that up and she kind of made it into like a stew, and she put acorn in that along with the ikez chunks. And then to the left of that, she had chopped up some pistachios that we had on site. Simple. And we had a blue cornmeal that she sprinkled a little bit in there and some honey and roasted all that up. And again, and put the ikez in there. And that was really good too. So yeah, we ate like kings and queens that day.
Yep. Really, really great day. And Carrie's right, that was the same day we put in the raised beds. So just overall, that was an amazing day for us. And for myself to be able to experience something like this, who's not from the reservation, to be a part of it and to see it and be able to taste it was a real honor for me. And really what we want to do, and kind of on that chart before, was developing the collaborations to really strengthen our youth. And that has to do with education and mentorship and really investing in the future leaders for the reservation. There you see Carrie, and always having fun with the people coming in, and my wife is there on the right, and my kids and other teachers from the Schoolhouse Cooperative. They are a big part of bringing the youth into the work that we do, and finding out those new and creative ways to blend our programs and education together, so it can all be a very holistic experience for everyone involved. And of course, some of our other key partners that we've collaborated with to help this piece come to fruition. Of course, Juan Arias, he runs the 4-H program as well out there. He does archery classes and ranching classes, and all around just so knowledgeable. Here we have him helping with the hospital came out with some of their patients, and Gabby, who's a case manager there, came out, and they're with some kids and patients, and we're all working together and we're learning, and they're helping in the garden. So it's just trying to work smarter, not harder as well. We don't need separate programs for everything. We can find out ways to kind of bring it all together and work together. Some more pictures of when the Schoolhouse Cooperative comes out. They come out once or twice a week. They help with the eggs. They help with some of the chores. We teach them about different life lessons and how to do this and that. And it's a lot of fun having them there, and it's a good break for the day for us to kind of switch gears and focus on the kids, and then kind of come back to what we do. But it's great having them, and we definitely plan to grow that relationship. So in summary, as you can see, we do a lot, but in everything that we do, this is really what we try to do. We try to reach people holistically, mind, body, soul, and spirit. We provide the rehabilitation through opportunities to engage in life-transforming work filled with purpose. And I believe that's what we're seeing with Josiah as he's a part of the work. And we want to, build internship programs and other people to work alongside us and just live life with us. And lastly, to build healthy relationships and communities through creativity and connectedness. And, that's connecting with partners like yourselves, Local First, United Food Bank, United Way, and the list goes on. AATech, who's been there from the start with us, U of A, and also, like I said, in the personal relationships as well, really getting to know people, for who they are, and helping them grow in true strength and true beauty. So that's it for our presentation. Thank you so much for listening, and I was very excited to share with you all what we've been up to. Feel free to contact us at any time. Bryce, he unfortunately couldn't be here. He's working in Indonesia currently, so I think it's like 1 or 2 a.m. for him. He actually said he would try to make it, but I thought, if you don't, it's okay. We'll forgive him for that. Carrie, of course, reach out to her. Myself, Eric, is our website, and find us on social media. We always have stories posted. Carrie does a great job, and Lyndon posting for us. So thank you all again, and feel free to ask questions. I don't know now, Allegra, or later after Gabe's presentation.
we can do some now. Thank you, Eric and Carrie. It's so energizing to listen to you guys speak about the work that you do. Yeah, wonderful to listen to that. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
like to ask a question or, speak to something that stuck with them or moved them in that presentation, there's some space for that now. Yeah, well, I had one thing that stuck with me as someone who is always looking for ways to support you guys is especially I loved seeing the early pictures of the mustard field, Carrie, and you talking about how exciting that was to break ground there with having the right tools. And so I wonder, as you guys are able to expand and getting more of the right tools that you need, like the kitchen and the fridge and stuff. I mean, does anything come up for you, or like other tools that you kind of dream about having for the future?
Yeah, I think working smarter, not harder. Eric's always saying that. We also work with United Food Bank, and we used to only get 30 boxes, but now we're getting up to 4 to 5 pellets that's 216 boxes of food, fresh produce. And we're finding it hard when he brings out the pallet jack, that he gets stuck in the dirt. And okay, it's meant to stay there. But I think we're gonna work on possibly seeing if we can get a grant for like just a simple concrete slab, to make things easier for us. If we're gonna, we definitely want to continue this, like Eric was saying, food security, definitely opened up a lot of doors for us to work with the community. We did get blessed with a tractor. Again, with the whole regenerative farming, we're not trying to, we're learning too that not tilling the ground, the soil is not smart. And, just taking these risks and learning, that's what we're trying to tell people too in the community, is we're learning too. And that's what we want people to understand, is that it can be scary every day. Oh my gosh, what's this, what's that? But we want to find those people who want to take risks with us and learn with us, even through failure. But there's a lot of things. I mean, I think I could think of right now. I know we need more hula hose. So feel free to reach out to us, especially if you want to have another day of local first AZ. I know we're going to have more work days, because right now I may have like a day off, but the weeds don't have a day off. We've been blessed with good rain. And I'm actually planning on going in to check on the garden here soon after this presentation. I'm planning on going in and checking on things. Yeah.
Cool. Great.
Yeah. I appreciate any donation that you guys have or questions. We're grateful for the support that we have had within these last, 10 years, 5 years. It's just really amazing to see the things that we may not say, out to the public, but it's amazing that people are supporting us, finding our needs, that we just know that we're on the right path to get what we need. Yeah.
Sounds like the COVID relief program really, sorry, 1 second, Bill. Thank you. I wanted to get this data. Sounds like the COVID or like the emergency food assistance program really is exponentially expanded for you guys. And what do you see for continuing that, as COVID theoretically is winding down in its impact on our communities?
Yes, I think you're 100% correct. The relief program, it really just blew up, and it really catapulted us into this realm of food security and food distribution. And even before COVID, the need is great to provide food and have access to food on the reservation. But what COVID did is it brought it more to light, and it put it on people's radar. So yes, we do want to continue providing food, but also provide training and education, so that people are not reliant on us, but can grow food and can be self-sustaining. So that's really where we want to focus. I know there's a time and a need for emergency food boxes, but we want to go deeper, and we want to address like the deeper issues, which is challenging, you know, and that's why we need to collaborate, because we don't have all the answers, and we don't have all the experience, and we feel like we're embarking in really new uncharted territory. So like Carrie said, you know, people that are willing to go on this journey with us and take those risks and fail and try again. And we're in it for, you know, the long haul. So we're going to keep doing what we do.
Thank you. I think we had a question from Bill.
Yes, for those of you who don't know me, I manage the Crazy Chili Farm in East Mesa, and we raise chili peppers as a commercial crop, and we use the money from that to use the rest of our fields to do seed grow outs of Native American comestibles that we distribute to different tribal groups in 3 different states. We have recently sent your community farm 3/4 of a pound of speckled blue tepary beans, or blue speckled tepary beans, which were grown in the Dragoon Mountains on traditional Apache territory. That should produce a fairly nice crop and give you seeds to persist with the crop in future years. I would be very, very interested in if I could do a seed exchange with you on the Apache giant squash. We do very, very, very well with Tohono O'odham squash and Diné squash, but we would like to be able to provide you with additional seed stock of the Apache giants. So,
yeah, we would love to seed exchange with you. And as you saw from the picture, we saved a lot of Apache giant this past year. So yeah, feel free to reach out, and we can talk more in detail afterwards.
And when will Bryce be back?
I know he's available through email.
Okay.
So you can contact him through email, but he'll be back in the States, I believe, in June.
Okay.
So if you ever do plan on coming to visit, or, you know, and have Bryce there, he'll be back in June. And I believe we got the blue cornmeal from you guys as well.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that came through United Food Bank.
Correct.
Yeah, so
we delivered something like 900 packages of blue cornmeal to United Food Bank, and that cornmeal, by the way, is a Native American product. We get the kernels that we process from the Ute Mountain Utes in Towawat, Colorado, and actually the blue corn that they have is a cross between the Diné and the Hopi blue corns. So. And
cool.
that the Ute ancestors appropriated from the Navajo.
Well, we've had someone cook us some cupcakes and cookies with the blue cornmeal, so those are really good. But thank you for that. Yeah, community has loved it so far.
Oh, good. We love to hear that.
Yeah, that blue cornmeal is blue corn mush. You know, I'm a quarter Diné, so there actually is some Diné people out here. And, you know, just again, the scarce of, just as simple as that, blue cornmeal. People are just really happy just for that little bag, you know, and it goes a long way. So yeah, we're really thankful for that, Bill. Appreciate that. So anything like that is definitely a pellet, you know, a strong pellet that we need to get even our youth into. And like Eric was saying, you know, we don't know how long this food security is going to be, but we do, you know, Eric always says that we do know that as long as we're here, we'll keep the garden going. And that's the traditional food that we want to have people, you know, young people to have a pellet for. We need to get back to that pellet and that this point in time, a mission is, I don't care if you're Apache or not, you need to just try the giant. You need to get a pellet for this. And I'm excited to have our giant coming back. I love it with elk, I love it with stew, goulash, and Eric made a simple recipe with it, with just chili flakes, and man, it's so good. So I can't wait. That time, my tongue's already getting watery for it. You know, I can't wait to have our Apache giant back, so.
Cool. Excellent. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. If there's any other
Yeah.
questions?
I don't have a question. I just want to say that I had a great time working that Saturday work day and learned a lot of stuff, and just the stuff that I'm seeing and everything that you're showing right now. You guys are doing very good. I mean, just a lot of the stuff. I mean, I think what I saw was don't create a lot of other programs. Everything you guys are doing is all in one program, and I think that's pretty cool. I'm with, my name is Donna Van. I'm with Partnership with Native Americans. So I just thought I'd chime in.
Thank you, Donna. Cool. So yeah, that was wonderful. Thanks everybody for your participation. And now we're ready to move on to learning about the Local First Arizona and their commercial kitchen. And Eric, I know you have a great relationship with Gabe and everything. So I was actually going to ask if you would introduce Gabe for us.
Sure. Gabe is the man. He's he makes delicious lemon bars. I know that. He's a great host, amazing speaker, great with a pickaxe. We have a GIF to prove it. And he can lift a compressor onto a commercial refrigerator, which I personally really appreciated. So yeah, Gabe, all around awesome guy. Great to have you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, and I just love listening. I could listen to you all talk and tell stories all day. And I think what struck me probably most, both in the presentation that I've watched this morning, as well as the times that I've been to the farm and just meeting with you all, is the sense of community, and that we're all in this together. It's a beautiful thing to see and to be a part of. So thank you for everything that you do. So I have a short presentation I was going to go through to kind of explain the community kitchen, which is where I'm at this morning, if that's all right with you all. Yeah, okay. So let's start. So as Eric mentioned, my name is Gabe Gardner, and I am the Director of Food Programs for Local First Arizona. And we run a commercial kitchen which incubates small food businesses in Mesa, Arizona. And it's built in an affordable housing development. There's 113 apartments. It houses about 500 people. And in addition to incubating these micro food entrepreneurs, we also look at the connection between the community where we are located and how we can best serve them through food. And so I put together this presentation about building community through food and how we do that. And so to start, I always start with this, and this, I'll try to get through this without, this makes me choke up. I always ask this question, what is your favorite food? And then why is it your favorite food? And then, was it made by a specific person? Does it take you back to a certain point in your life? And if it does, what you're dealing with is something called food memory, right? So food has this ability to connect us to our past and to bond us with other people. So the picture here on the right-hand side of the screen is a peach pie made by my grandma. And the recipe to the left is her handwritten recipe for this pie. And I've been fortunate enough to travel all over the world, and I've cooked in some fantastic restaurants and eaten, you know, some stuff by amazing pastry chefs. And none of it is as good to me as this particular peach pie, right? And the reason is the answer to those questions, right? It's because my grandma made it. And the thing, other thing that she did that no one else can do is she put love in there, right? And so, excuse me. So, so what we try to do here at this kitchen is to build community and to build new food memories, both for the residents and for the entrepreneurs that are using this space to grow their business, right? So food has this ability to connect us in three really powerful ways. It's a social equalizer, right, in that everybody eats. It connects us emotionally and physiologically with one another. And the struggle or creation of it creates community. And what I am so struck with by everything that NDC does is that last point. The creation of food builds community. And it really is an amazing thing to watch and to be a part of. And you guys are doing it in a way that is admirable. And you're doing it on a scale that is impressive. So I'm gonna do this here. All right. So as a social equalizer, everybody enjoys a good meal, right? Doesn't matter if you're young, old, rich, poor, all nationalities and all walks of life. This idea of sharing a meal builds commonality. Everyone can bond over a meal. And food can minimize our differences through shared experience, right? And the experience of a meal is it's impermanent. So it demands that you be present, right? The food's going to be eaten and consumed and go away. And so if you can live in the moment, which is for a person like me, is a very hard thing to do. I'm always on to the next thing and the next plan, and we got to get this done, and we got to get that done. Coming together with a group of people that I care about allows me to be in that moment and be there and only there. And that is a beautiful thing, right? So this emotion and then the physiology, I used to talk about this all the time when I taught at culinary schools, and that people eat for two reasons. One, you have to physically eat in order to sustain life, but there's also pleasure in food. And I would also say that there's ritual in it, right? So you eat certain meals at certain times of year for certain reasons, right? To celebrate a harvest or a birthday or an anniversary or any sort of ceremony, there's food involved with that. And so birthdays, dates, weddings, funerals, all sorts of things, right? And those rituals bind us together through that memory, collective memory of food. So as a social group, with your family, as a state or as a country or as a group of people, we're all bound through that. And again, this shared experience connects us to one another. And then creation and struggle. So cooking food bonds us, and family recipes are a way to share that history, right? So that's why I got so choked up at the beginning of this, part of it is me talking about my grandma who has since passed, but looking, like, I can see her hand writing that recipe, and in my head, I can see her making that pie, right? And when she passed away, I got her recipe book, and my goal is that, as when I have a child, that book will go to them, and on and on and on, right? And sharing our food with others shows vulnerability, right? That was not the easiest thing in the world for me to do, was to tell that story about my grandma and the peach pie. But I hope that it shows others how deeply I care about what it is that I do. And as is mentioned, Carrie mentioned it, you started out with 30 or 40 food boxes, and now you're getting 5 and 6 pallets of food, right? So this lack of food creates a common struggle to obtain it. And what I think is wonderful about what NDC does is to try to not only meet the acute need of, we have folks that are hungry, particularly in light of COVID, and we're meeting that need, but then to give them the education and the space to become more self-sufficient, to become sovereign in their food. That is that's at the heart, for me, that's at the heart of it. It's one thing, I tell this story all the time, and I told it to all the NDC people when they came here, but we do a food pantry out of our community kitchen, and I was giving away spaghetti squash, and which I got from United Food Bank, and we had Mercy 200 pounds of it, and nobody wanted it. They were like, I don't know what the hell this is. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. And what I realized was giving a person a spaghetti squash doesn't help them if they don't know how to cook it, if they don't know what to do with it. So, I mean, this isn't any great master stroke, but I typed up a recipe and I baked one, and I had a sample, and I gave everybody who took a spaghetti squash a recipe. And before I knew it, the 200 pounds of spaghetti squash was gone. So it is meeting an immediate need and then giving them education to do better, right? That is, to me, connecting both. You might get them in for the food box, but if you can teach them how to farm the land and build that raised bed that you did in your community, that gives them a stepping stone to not need a food box, right? To be self-sufficient, self-reliant. So all of that is kind of a precursor to our community kitchen, which is a commercial kitchen space that is about empowering entrepreneurs to inspire others and to create new food memories, right? For themselves and for their customers. I use the phrase removing barriers all the time. And what we do is we remove barriers so that people can begin this work. Many people come to me and say, oh, I make great salsa, or I make, I don't know, there's a guy here who's roasting whole pigs today. He's a Filipino chef, right? And he came to me and he said, I have this idea, I want to roast these whole pigs. And I was like, sure you do. And if I'm to be honest, I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. But he's a year and a half in, and he's doing it, right? But we gave him the launch pad to be able to do that. The average rate for commercial kitchen space in the Phoenix region is of $40 or $50 an hour. And we allow people to use our kitchen for $8 an hour. And so what we're trying to do is remove that barrier so people can begin their business and create a sense of place for Arizona foods, right? It also builds up a network of local producers and farmers and ranchers and artisans and foodies and people who just love to eat that support this space. And I think a community kitchen has tremendous potential to do just that, which is why I'm so excited about seeing that walk in and all the stainless steel that you guys have at NDC. Like, that's my happy place, right? So I really love to see that because the potential is there to do the exact same thing. Entrepreneurs are the key to growing a local food system, right? If you think about the last time you went on a trip, I don't think many people, like go to visit San Diego or Denver or Portland or any of these cool cities or some other country, like, I'm really excited to eat at the Applebee's in Portland. Like I don't think that happens. I'm not that person. Maybe Eric is, getting riblets in Portland. I don't know. But what you do, or what I do anyway, when I travel is I look for the thing that makes that place unique. And if we're looking for the foods and the memories and the stories and the history of what makes a place unique, it's often through food. Or at least to me, as someone who's spent a life working with food, that's the piece that's most interesting anyway, right? And who doesn't love to eat? So these small producers use local products. They build individual relationships with their farmers and with other processors. They hire locally, they hire relatives, family members, community people, and the money stays local, right? So after all, I do work for Local First, so I have to put this plug in. About 65 to 70% of a dollar spent at a local restaurant stays in that community. So on the other side of that, about 20% stays local if you spend it with a chain, right? And the same thing applies to like big box stores like Walmart and Home Depot, right? If you go to the tiny little Ace Hardware, which is locally owned and locally operated, that money stays in the community, right? And then it goes to pay our friends and our loved ones. It buys Apache giant squash at the farmer's market or whatever, right? But it stays around. And so these are some of the entrepreneurs and businesses and families that are working out of our space, right? This is Christmas time. These folks, good Lord. They 550 pies in 4 days. So they were busy people. And I mentioned we offer the kitchen at 1/3 of the market rate, and it removes this barrier so people can begin on a simpler level. And this last point, all of the businesses that work out of our kitchen share this sense of being in it together. And so they start to help one another, right? The local baker bakes sub buns for the sandwich maker, right? The pastry chef that works out of here makes a dessert for the Filipino chef, right? So that when he goes and does his pop-up events with his roasted pigs, he has a dessert, right? But he doesn't have to make it, but he's supporting another business. And that's how we've built this web of people who support one another, who care, and really focus on localness. So this quote is from this gentleman here, the bald-headed guy in the background. His name is Lucas. He owns a taco truck, and he says, "The community kitchen was just what we needed. The welcoming feeling, flexibility, and support for entrepreneurs is a success. To succeed is amazing. After completing our first year in the food business, finding a more practical kitchen was at the top of our needs. We now have the opportunity to expand our business to 7 days a week, and working in the kitchen, being surrounded by fellow entrepreneurs is inspiring and really motivates us to succeed." I talked to him yesterday, and he's currently looking for his own restaurant where he will continue to operate the food truck, and they've started making and selling their own tortillas. And so even since he gave me this quote, probably 6 months ago, they've grown. And in the face of COVID, this business was able to grow. So we're almost at the end. So this sense of place, I think, in reflecting upon the times that I've been to NDC, one of the things that always strikes me is it's a special place. It's a beautiful place. It is markedly different from the environments where I am most of the time. And the things I think that occur there, that I've witnessed anyway, couldn't happen anywhere else. And so I think to explore that sense of place is an important thing. And increasingly, Arizona is seen as this destination because of small people like Lucas and his family that are they're doing what they love, which is they're making these tortillas, right? You guys are growing this Apache giant squash and harvesting eggs, right? And that love comes through. When food is rooted in a community and locality and ingrained in the cuisine, it attracts tourism dollars, it attracts people, it attracts fellowship and community just over and over and over, right? I don't think that you can discount this last sentence in relationship to what you all are doing. The reason that, I mean, the community work day that I was there was probably 30 people there, right? And that's because of the environment that you all have created, and that's something to be commended. So this could be anywhere. This could only be in Phoenix, right? And so the hope would be that we could have this sign, and then we could have that picture of the field of mustard greens, right? that Carrie mowed down, and have beautiful produce growing. So those are a list of all the businesses. That's how to get a hold of me. And that is what I have to say this morning. So thank you for indulging me. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to entertain those or answer them now.
That was wonderful, Gabe. Thank you. And maybe, why don't we watch, let's show the video, and then we will wrap up with questions after that. If that's good with everybody. So Lyndon, if you would cue us up.
I will make it happen. Is it working?
Yeah, this table that we've been sitting at, we've done fundraising dinners out of here and all sorts of stuff. It's nice that even in this urban setting that we have some place to actually have community, right? I think had it been just a bunch of stainless steel tables, I think the element of, I don't know, hominess or togetherness really would have been lost. Come on back here. There's about 30 businesses that work out of here. I'm actually surprised that there's nobody in here working. Usually it's a pretty busy spot. The way that this works is we have a shared calendar and they can plug in, I'm gonna be here for 5 hours, I'm gonna be here for 3 hours. It's easy when there's not a lot of people. When there's this many businesses, it gets a little hectic. And so I put some real hard parameters around how many people can be in here. So this is our walk-in. And what we decided was each business gets a shelf, and that's important when the health department comes. So if Carrie has this business, right, and I have this business, if she's doing something crazy up here on her shelf, she gets cited because that's her shelf, right? Carrie's Creations, and then mine underneath, they're like, oh, he's doing okay. This is our dry storage area. Same as in the walk-in, every business gets a shelf. And so, for the same reason, right? So if I'm doing something that's screwy, the health department cites my business and not yours. So the garage door is used for a couple purposes. One is for entrepreneurs to get stuff in and out, or when we get a delivery from the food bank, it comes in through here. It's also a really nice way to bring the community in. Having this open, particularly on days where like I do the kids class, it invites them in, and this space isn't quite so foreboding. I think yeah, so there's 28 beds here, and there's another 2 just behind the kitchen. All of these are for community use. They fall under Local First's purview. We are slowly rehabbing these beds. Right, so we've gotten about this far. Oh, this one too. Right, so we're cleaning them out. This dirt we got, soil we got donated by U of A. We're filling them up, and the goal of this eventually will be to teach the kids about gardening, and then the food that's grown here will go back into the kitchen to help them learn about cooking, and then also to augment the food pantry. Revelation when I first started teaching the kids in the kitchen. We were making vegetable sandwiches, so like I cut up some bell peppers and I cut up some tomatoes, and like I got these mushrooms, and because I'm fancy, I roasted them like balsamic and olive oil and fresh garlic and thyme, right? And I had these beautiful roasted mushrooms. And the rule was you had to put 5 vegetables on your sandwiches. Like I didn't care what they were, but it had to be 5. And none of them were choosing the mushrooms, right? I was like, well, this can't stand. So I called them all over and I said, why is nobody getting the mushrooms? I'm like, mushrooms. And it occurred to me that most of them probably had never had a mushroom. And so I said, okay, everybody line up, stick your hand out. And I gave everybody a mushroom and I made them eat it. And there's maybe 10 kids, and half of them like made a face and spit it out. The other half were like, oh, that's pretty good. And that was, for me, was a win that day because it broadened their horizon, right? Like I don't think that they're, you know, going to go on to become Wolfgang Puck or any famous chef or anything, but like if it broadens their horizon and changes what they view as acceptable or normal or whatever, I mean, that's huge for a kid, you know?
Thank you for making that beautiful video, Lyndon. It was painful to watch for me, but thank you for making it.
It's always painful to be on the.
It was a little cringy for me. It was a little cringy. I am happy to report that the garden today is being finished. So we're doing the second half of those beds. We have, Mercy, 15 people out there probably with wheelbarrows and shovels, and we're filling the beds up. We're planting stuff in the ground. So progress is being made.
Yeah,
Great.
we were
So-
really inspired by our visit. Oh, sorry, Allegra.
No, yeah.
Gabe, from when we went down. And I think I told you, but we built like 3 or 4 more raised beds after we visited your site. We're like, okay, you know, I love how you guys are doing it. You know, we need to do that too. And so, you know, I think we just transplanted a few things in there. And, yeah, and your presentation, man, it was truly inspiring as well. Like, you can really see the heart and passion in what you do, and how you share it with others, and really making people's lives better, you know, and like it really is about that. And you guys do what you do so well. So, you know, thank you so much for speaking today. We really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for asking me. And you guys really are on the right track. I mean, not that you need my validation or validation from me, but you're doing good work and you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, thank you. And I do think, you know, kind of hearing how you explain the food, and, you know, I love food as well. And I love watching food shows, and they talk about it all the time. But the way you explain it and define it, it makes it so clear, you know, to me. And, you know, and we built the commercial kitchen. We didn't really have that plan yet, but with, you know, inspiration from you and, you know, the new collaborations that are forming, I definitely do think this will be an area that we will be growing in, you know, very soon. And, you know, of course, we've invited you in the past out there, and feel free to come by and we can experiment with the squash. And I would love for you to taste what Twyla roasted up.
Yeah.
It was a very unique, like it was inside of that stalk, and it was very pineapple texture, you know. So yeah, I mean, thank you so much. It was truly inspiring.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
So we have a few more minutes here. If anybody in our community here has anything they'd like to bring up or comment on from Dave's presentation or any of the earlier presentations.
Hi guys. I'm Jessica. I'm on the board with NDC, and also I'm a teacher. You saw some of my students in those pictures in the visits to NDC, and just wanted to say thank you, Gabe. Similarly to what Eric shared, just so much of what you shared really resonated. From my personal experience, like my family history with food, and also my experiences in the San Carlos Apache community, like it's literally, you know, I was thinking about, you know, times going over to Carrie's house. We're in her backyard and we're having a cookout with her family. And that was my kind of big introduction into being part of this community, being from Los Angeles. And so that's something, you know, like when you're articulating it, it made me think like that's been a big part of what I love to share with my students as well. And you know, like with the pandemic, we were doing outdoor school, and it was kind of a crazy thing, but I found myself like, I gotta find a way to cook with the kids. I'm not an expert chef, but I love to cook and share, you know, my cultural recipes with the students, and also my stories. And so we tried to do that towards the end of the year. We're like trying to make dumplings outside. What can I like, you can assemble it here and then we'll cook it in there. It's kind of crazy, but like, I just never thought about how big a part of, that's just a big part of me and what I love to do as well. So it's really inspiring. I didn't get to make it to the tour because I was teaching, but you know, to see what you guys are doing out there and like the business incubator part, you know, that's something with my students too. We're like, this year we did kind of a more theoretical math PBL where we're making a pet shop, and Eric actually just came, his daughter's in my class. She built like a model of her pet shop, and we did, you know, all these math calculations for it. But my students keep me on my toes. They're always like, okay, we're gonna do a real business next year. And we've experimented with that in the past pre-pandemic, but you know, with just kind of limited resources, trying to figure out, oh, like, you know, how do we make a business? And so we're thinking about doing a food related business next year. And I was just talking to Eric about that, collaborating, with NDC and everything. So I'm kind of curious, like with the business incubator aspect, in addition to the commercial kitchen usage, do you guys offer like specific services to, build up the skill set for entrepreneurs?
Yeah, that's a great question. And what I found is the people that come to us are not lacking in passion or knowledge about food. So prior to coming to work for Local First, I ran a culinary school for a good long while. And I was focused obviously on teaching people how to cook in a specific way, usually in a very French way. And which is fine, there's nothing wrong with French food. Or teaching people or learning how to do it. But the folks that come here, like I'm not going to teach that guy who roasts, whole Filipino pigs, like his business. He knows how to do that and I don't. I can learn from him, which is beautiful. But what the businesses that come here need is business acumen. So what we have is a boot camp. It's a 6-week course that takes people from LLC creation to business insurance and licensing and digital marketing and permitting through the county and making business contacts so that they can actually go sell the thing. Because a lot of people show up and they say, well, I make really great strawberry jam, and strawberry jam is nice, but strawberry jam is not a business. It's strawberry jam. And so how do we get you from strawberry jam to selling it at a farmer's market or in a cafe or wherever so that you're actually generating revenue? And so that's what we work on. When I use the word incubation, that's what we're doing, trying to anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's really awesome. As we continue to grow, like we'd love to learn more from you guys.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you ever want to do anything with my students, maybe we could come visit, or I don't know.
Yeah, I think we could do something like that. Sure.
Cool.
Sure.
Thank you.
Eric and Carrie have all my contact information, so yeah.
Sounds good. Thanks.
We can connect and figure something out for sure.
Babe, that boot camp sounds really interesting. Is that something that you mostly focus on Maricopa County, or do you have participants?
We have participants from all over. 2 cohorts. I do it every quarter. And I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 cohorts ago. I had 3 sisters that were coming down from the Navajo Nation to take the class. Must have been 3 or 4 because I was still doing it in person. It was pre-pandemic. As we do it now, we do it virtually. And I'm doing a rural cohort currently that has participants from Verde Valley and Lake Havasu City. So I certainly, if there was someone anywhere in the state that was interested, I would work with them to get them registered and enrolled.
That's awesome. That's great to know. Well, we might be able to refer some people to you in the future, because that sounds like a really valuable program. And then does that program, does it come with a cost?
There's a fee associated with it, but for folks, I've done scholarships and I've done payment plans, and it's $250, which is cost prohibitive for some folks, but it covers our time and our resources for sure.
Cool.
And then that kind of becomes the basis for, as the business goes through that becomes the basis for their incubation, right? I get a pretty good understanding of where their business is and where they would like to go. And then it kind of funnels down and eventually becomes a lot of one-on-one conversations and outreach with that business.
So before Local First Arizona, were you at all an expert in business, or was this something developed on the fly?
I worked in restaurants and country clubs and hotels for 1,000 years, and then I worked in culinary schools for a long time. I was on the path to owning my own restaurant. My friend and I were writing menus and looking at spaces and approaching investors, and then I got a job teaching in a culinary school, and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. And so
Cool.
That's a real brief story about my background. But I have learned more from the people I do think the great value of that course is the collective wisdom of the 10 or 12 people that are in the class. I kind of guide a conversation like, hey, today we're going to talk about business insurance, which is like woefully boring, right? And so I'll give a 30-minute talk about why you need insurance and how it works. And I'll bring in, you know, an insurance guy to talk about insurance for restaurants. And then the conversation that happens between the students is where the real education comes in. It's not about me at all. It's about them.
Oh, thank you. Do we have any other comments or questions from the group?
Hey, Gabe, just want to say
Yeah, hey.
thank you for the presentation.
My pleasure.
Definitely had my pin here. It's definitely writing some quotes. If I ever get a quote, I'm going to go to you about food quotes. No, I just want to thank you for the kind words that you shared with us and for coming out and, you know, just to all of you on the team, London, for that great video. Just thank you all for your strengths, you know, and again, Nathwari and Joni, strength and beauty within each of us. And just looking forward for these future collaborations, you know, with food. And like you said, you know, when it comes down to it, we all need to eat, and, you know, we all have a story. And it was beautiful to hear the beginning of your grandma, you know, and that's what I always say. I would have some of my best cooking is around a fire, you know, not a 5-star restaurant. It's just what grandma can do with a simple, you know, iron skillet and just with her hands, you know, and that love. And I'm grateful for that. Those memories, food memories, that's a good one, you know. And I believe, like what Eric's always sharing, you know, NDC is we're telling other people's stories, and it's food memory, you know. It's, you know, even like all these new babies that are being born, you know, within our own families, and I'm excited for them to try the giant, you know, and see their expression. And that's, yeah, another food memory right there. So just thankful for you, and thank you for all the kind words.
Thank you. Happy to do it. Julia Child said, people who love food are always the best people. So, and I think that's absolutely true.
Awesome. Well, if we have no further input from the group, I just wanted to say thank you so much to the presenters today, Eric and Carrie, and Gabe. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. It was really a great workshop, and I look forward to sharing this out with the rest of the group that was RSVP but maybe wasn't able to be here, and making this available to everyone to come learn about all the great work y'all are doing. So yeah, thank you so much, and I hope that everyone has a beautiful rest of your Saturday.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, thank you.